In this video, I will tell you how to write a method section. In my point of view, the method section is the section that is very easy and can be quickly written out. Because what you do in the method section is simply to describe and justify what you have done. Of course, doing all these methods and the analysis will take a lot of time. This can take 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. But in the method section, you simply have to summarize what you did and then explain. Let me tell you a little bit more about the structure of a method section. How should you write a method section? It's fairly straightforward. It's very much standardized for empirical papers. You can divide it perhaps in 2 to 3 subsections. In the first subsection, you will talk about the sample and the procedures or the data. By sample, I mean who did you survey, the respondents, the companies, and so forth. You may also explain about the background context. That's particularly common for qualitative studies, and also in particular if you deal with non-standard samples. By non-standard samples, I mean any kind of sample that is not based in the USA. I'm not American, but in most journals, and most journals are American journals, the basic assumption is they're dealing with an American sample. If, however, you look at a sample in Germany, Japan, China, Russia, and so forth, you may briefly summarize your context, your sample, and also justify to what extent that is an important sample or context that we would like to study. And then you would also explain about the data or the procedures, how you obtained that data. If you conducted your own surveys, your own interviews, then you would explain how did you do that? How did you contact respondents? Or it can also be that you use secondary data, existing data. Then you would probably describe the data and then also make reference to where that data has been used before. In the second subsection, you will explain your measures. Each measure. You would probably start with the dependent, your outcome variable, then talk about independent, mediating or moderating variables, and then also explain about your control variables. It's important to describe each measure that you tested. That should be explained in the measures section. And then third, not all papers need that, but many papers do, is that you explain your analysis. How did you analyze your data? For quantitative papers, in psychology, they like to explain the analysis. Sometimes they use quite complex statistics. And then it's very important to explain these complex and difficult statistical analyses. In qualitative papers, also there it is important to describe your analysis. Some people are under the false assumption, qualitative studies are super easy, I just talk to some people and then I have a research paper, I have data and I can present it. No, also in qualitative papers, or I would say particularly in qualitative papers, you need to provide more details, because qualitative data analysis can sometimes give the impression is very subjective. And you would like to convince the reader it's otherwise, that you followed very solid protocol. How did you code that data? How did you analyze? Maybe you have 2 raters who coded data and so forth. And you will explain that in detail in such an analysis section. When writing up the method section, I would like you to remember the 3 C's. Please pay attention to the 3 C's. The 3 C's stand for completeness, clarity and credibility. What I mean by that is as follows. Completeness, you should write all the necessary information, the complete information that is necessary to replicate your study into your method sections. As I mentioned, you should describe each measure that you've analyzed or that appears maybe in your correlation table that should be explained. Also, you need to provide enough information, complete information, so we understand your data. By clarity, I mean it should be very clearly written up. Hence, I recommend the structure, as I mentioned before, these 3 structures. First, sample and procedures, then measures, and then analyses. That's the way papers are written. And then you also organize it and write it clearly up. Whenever someone else reads your method section, he or she will get a feeling whether you did solid research. And to convey that, it would help if you follow completeness and clarity, but then also, in case where necessary, provide references and justification for your choices, and also to show that you know the standards in research, and you write in the way that researchers usually write. As already mentioned at the beginning of this video, the method section can be super easy. You simply need to describe and justify what you did. If you're an experienced researcher, it's very easy. But if not, if it's your first paper, first time you conduct all these methods and analysis, then it's not that easy. Now it can be a very long process. You're not familiar how to write a method section. My tip for you is then read prior research that used very similar research methods, and then imitate that writing style. Here I would like to emphasize imitate. Do not copy-paste, because copy-paste is a serious ethical violation, and would lead also to consequences. So do read related research. Try to read maybe 5, 6, 7 articles that do something similar you do, and then write it in your own words. Again, of course, you can check later if the way how you present it is similar. And I think that would be a shortcut how to write a convincing method section if you don't have so much experience yet. And of course, you can ask some more experienced researchers to help you. All right, that's it for now. Thank you for your attention and good luck. Bye bye.